Hello viewers, Super GT here. So the theme of this video is that of turn 1 and lap 1, shall we say, in Forza Motorsport. So this example here just gets shoved wide, as you typically see around Daytona. It's not the easiest of first corners. Now I think these days on Forza, I think most people have fairly good intentions. It's just I suppose it just gets very cosy when you've got 16, 20, 24 players all very, very close to each other going into the first corner with a mismatch of cars, some with amazing brakes, some with awful brakes. And as a result of all of that, it does get very messy at times. And by times I mean pretty much most of the time, except for if you're right at the front, of course. So I lose 4 positions there by just not really backing off enough into the back of the orange Porsche. And only one corner later we've gained all 4 of them back immediately. Now going back onto the oval, orange Porsche seems to want to brake really early for some reason. Into the back of him again and into the back of that Porsche. I love punting Porsches wide at the moment. So onto the oval. Noble M600, what a beautiful car this is. This thing is ridiculously good in S-Class. I love driving it. It's one of my go-to cars, I'd say, for S-Class. Really, really quick. So can we finally get past the orange Porsche at the 3rd attempt, coming into the chicane, late on the brakes, and that RX-7 is way too late on the brakes. And he's into the wall. I go past him, I go past the orange Porsche, through the chicane, back onto the oval, and we now have a drag race with the Porsche through the banking. You might notice that this lobby was a little bit laggy, so it was probably my fault. If most people were lagging, it's probably my connection. Although most of the time the connection's fine, but sometimes it wasn't. Porsche just drifts really wide, big mistake. But Daytona turn 1, not an easy one to judge, and you're kind of turning while braking. It's awkward. It gets awkward there. And this guy doesn't really decide that he wants to take the corner, just goes on the grass. Not the recommended line, but each to their own. You can do what you wish, I suppose. So coming through the sweeping left up behind the GT40, looking to the right hand side, up the inside, nicely done. Is he going to come back on the exit? Not quite. So we've got the Brazilian up ahead in the Corvette, and then a Mustang just in front of him. Top 3 look to have broken away nice and early. And this is the thing about lap 1, you can really go about setting a good race for yourself by getting away at the beginning. You see just how far 1, 2 and 3 are away from 4, 5 and 6 here. The gap from 4th to 3rd is huge, and that can literally always, or almost always, can come down to a couple of incidents on lap 1. If you can just escape it and open up that gap very quickly, then you're in a good position, and as long as you don't make any silly mistakes and bottle it, then should be good to go. So in the Noble again, really good straight line speed. But it's all a really good all-rounder actually. You can see the straight line speed here up against the Corvette. He's going to block the left-hand side, fair enough, and go to the right-hand side, which is going to be the outside. Almost made it work, but he's back late on the brakes, back up the inside. Although I feel as though he's delaying the inevitable. Let's see if I can make the pass. He's going to move to the right-hand side again, so we're going to go to the left-hand side, try to get the cut back, let him just accelerate and then accelerate into that gap, although not really doing that enough. As I actually get the car completely sideways, which does not help your acceleration. Into the left, using the curb. He's a little bit wide onto the grass with 2 wheels, and late on the brakes. I don't really even have to force the pass to make a mistake, although on the exit he can fight this one, run him towards the end of the track, but no further, and he's still in the lead of this battle at least. As I try to go for the cutback once again. It's a good battle though, good battle between the 2 of us. I don't think we've really made contact, but just nice close racing. Now onto the oval once again. Which side is he going to go? It's quite hard to tell with the laggy movements. But finally I'm through, up into 4th place. 3rd place not too far ahead, 800 feet. And he's actually within sight. So despite getting that huge gap on lap 1, perhaps making a couple of mistakes, which has meant he's now within my sight. So you can see him just up ahead there. Not too far ahead, maybe a couple of seconds. Into turn 1 then, lap 4 of 4. So that gap has come down. We're in with a shout. of possibly getting a podium, which wouldn't be too bad a result, given the chaos we experienced on the first lap. So through the hairpin, nicely done on the power, onto this midfield straight. Left-hander here, quite a crucial one to get right. And you don't really always have to move back to the left-hand side, just get back on the brakes at the right time. And then swing the car in for that medium apex, keep it along the curb and then accelerate all the way out to the left-hand side. Back over to the right, look for that cut through on the right, braking just at the start of it, and it kind of sets you up nicely into that turn. Aston Martin up ahead, not taking the best of lines. We have the chance here to go through, as we did on the vet, through this part of the oval. So this time he's taken the left-hand side. It's better to go to the left-hand side, slightly shorter distance down the bottom side of the oval. But this time, not enough to keep the noble M600 at bay through around the outside into third on the last lap. Just get this chicane right, and we should be in a good position here to claim a podium, which would be a fairly good result given the race we had. So there we go, we can skip forward this part here. Wasn't too far off of second and first, not too far I suppose, we did catch up slightly. Now here's some examples of good starts. So of course starting towards the front really helps, and of course if you get that good lap time, always try and set at least one clean lap in your race. That'll put you ahead of most people, because if people don't set a clean lap, if you set a clean one, you'll be ahead of them no matter what, no matter how slow your lap is. As long as it's clean, you will start ahead of someone else on the next race. So around the outside of the Corvette, driving the Aston Martin GT12 here, which is a really good handling car for for S-Class. And around this short Maple Valley circuit, you don't really need too much top speed at all, maybe a little bit of acceleration, but it's all really about handling around here. Ferrari F50 into the wall, that 45-degree angled wall here at Maple Valley, claiming yet another victim. So you can see the handling ability here. And of course that first lap was fairly clinical. It was really a case of get off the line quickly and just try to avoid the carnage from behind. Luckily at Maple Valley, I suppose, the braking zone into the first corner isn't a big one. You can kind of go into that corner quite quickly. So I suppose that is something you have to think about. Tracks with really big braking zones are going to be much more dangerous. Daytona, as we just showed, that has a bigger braking zone, so more likely to be carnage. So I suppose the only thing here that could ruin the race, or disrupt the race in any way, really, is either myself, if I just spin myself out, or back markers. They seem to have been okay so far. Blown daily here, spinning off, and then the other Ferrari into the wall. The explosive tyre barriers are back, and yeah, he's been completely claimed. So this is the most Forza thing I've seen in a long time. Now look at this, guy in the Evo, just drifting into his opponent, slamming him wide. That is extremely Forza. Anyway, over the line eventually with a victory. Now another one here. Now this is a really big braking zone, so the only chance you have really is to be on pole position and have an amazing launch. By the time I'm braking, I'm already 120 feet ahead. Almost still get killed. You see the proximity arrow there, and then we pull away. On the map, just the gap is opening up already 400 feet, 500 feet almost. Absolutely ridiculous. So the key to this start, really, one, being on pole, so setting a quick lap in the previous race, and then two, just having an amazing launch. This car, the Skyline, 2002 Skyline, not one that I've used really too much. I've seen it being used in S-Class, but I thought, you know what, let's give it a try. And I can tell you, I am pleased to report that it is an absolute beast. This thing is ridiculously good in this class. Really good acceleration, really good launch, decent handling, just great all-rounder to be honest. So definitely one to have a look at. And you know, that start there, if I had been claimed at turn 1, I would have been in a really bad position right now, but now didn't get claimed. I'm more than 1,000 feet ahead, although that's not going to help by drifting really wide on the brakes. So definitely have to adjust my braking point next time round. Eventually though, end of lap 6 of 6, we claimed the win, and that was really set up because of that first corner. here's an example of a bad start, and it's at Bathurst or Mount Panorama. Triggered Australians still, I suppose, and there's the crash. You just know it's going to come. It's just going to happen basically. It's just a guaranteed thing in life. So down to 11th from I think it was 4th. Let's see if we can go back past these guys. Blown Daily, what a name. On the home circuit actually. Going to go past him. Now a nice big group up ahead. Now Mount Panorama, not the easiest tracks to overtake around, especially through the mountain section which we are coming up to here. The walls seem very, very narrow, very, very close, and well, there's nowhere to escape for all the carnage, and as the point proven there, and I've actually just slammed that guy wide into the wall. So if you can't overtake them, just murder them. That's the alternative method that you could employ. Now I was up the inside of the Ferrari BBLM here, and it was quite a weird one, possibly lag. I might have hit him on my screen, it didn't look like I did, but there might have been lag and I might have just murdered him inadvertently as well. Now I caught up with these guys on the last lap, so the Ferrari just spinning himself wide, and then the Porsche up ahead. I really don't know what's going on here. He's had mine laps halfway through the race, and well, there we go, he's just slowed right down, and I can claim second ultimately at the end of this race. So crossing the line, there we go. Let's go to the next race here in the Americas. So Circuit of the Americas, Houston, Texas, or Austin, no, not Houston, Austin. And up the inside we have Jula DT here, fastest man in Greece in the NSX. I'm driving the 2013 SRT Viper. This thing is an absolute monster, I must say. Really is a very good, quick car, very, very powerful. Bit of a handful though, so controlling it through those S's was not an easy task. Coming through this turn, and I think that is courtesy of the lag. A bit of a tap from behind. It seemed worse than it really was. I think again the lag really contributing to that. But we stay ahead, stay into the lead at the moment. 3 laps to do. Halfway through the first one at the moment, coming down towards the hairpin before the long straight. Quite a crucial corner to get right this one. You can go for the overtake here, but it's often quite a good thing just to wait, and then if your car has the straight line speed, get the job done on this long straight here, the longest straight on the circuit, which is exactly what Mr. Jula DT is going to do here. So he's catching up. I'm going to move to the left hand side, go for the defensive position, and I don't think either of us know where we are braking. We go really rather deep just to keep it on the tarmac. He's on the left hand side, which is going to be the outside for this turn here. Quite early on the brakes, not quite confident on the brakes, first race in the car, not quite knowing the limits of the stopping power. He's got the left hand side here though, and he's going to get the job done. Very, very easy overtake that one. It's good. It's a good corner for overtaking that turn. Can just slam up the inside. I've gone for the revenge punt, although inadvertently kind of hit him there. Just trying to get as close as I can to him without hitting him. Obviously failing in that task. Into the second to last turn, and then towards the final one. Within range, within striking distance here of an overtake. There we go. We're going to go for it. Be aggressive. Go for the move. Overshoot though. And perhaps it's best to follow and wait for the move into turn 1, which is the better overtaking opportunity, and it's harder to pass after it. So coming up towards the first corner, up the hill of course, into this turn 1 here at Circuit of the Americas. A little bit deep on the brakes, but we can come back for that late apex and we can get the straight line speed on the way out. But that's about as good as that race got, because Jula DT just had the edge on me by maybe a second or so a lap. Things weren't always so good for him though. So this was a VIR race at night, you know, just your typical Forza video really. It just has to include this at some point. And there we go, just slammed wide onto the grass. And that's a really good example. His race is going to be awful from now on, or from then on, and mine was going to be quite good. Got through in second, he was going to get through in maybe last or something. And it's just one of those little things there. Sometimes placing yourself on the inside is just really the best option, it's the safest option. And well, sometimes, you know, these are the things you have to do. Just place yourself on the right kind of position and hope for the best. Obviously, you can't always get the best. This is the more typical kind of Forza start. Turn 2 this time, 130R here. Not the really principal corner to worry about. It's that sharp braking zone into that tight right-hander, that's where things really kick off, as proven by this race here. So now I've moved over to the 2005 Ford GT. I really love this machine, up the inside of the Lamborghini and the Lotus, who happens to drive really wide as well. So up into third, and already you see first and second, they escaped the carnage. They escaped all of that. So they've got the big gap already towards 1,000 feet ahead. I mean, that's what, at least at this point here, maybe 5 seconds ahead. They've gained 5 seconds in one lap, which is quite ridiculous, really. So, again, I mean, you see a correlation within this video. All the races where I started first or second, I got through fine. All the races where I start further back, it wasn't fine. So maybe my top tip would be qualify on pole. Easy, you know, it sounds easy, but it's not always easy to do. Okay, this time Hockenheim, still in the 4GT. So the Hockenheim short version. Now, whenever it's the short version, you just know what's going to happen. Into turn 1, I do brake a little bit too late and edge that guy wide. Yeah, my fault. Now, turn 2 is coming up right here, and it catches people out. Pretty much half the people don't know, or not paying attention to which configuration we're doing. And there we get slammed into the wall. Four cars abreast there. We're going to overtake 3 of them. So we're not quite last anymore. Up the inside of the Audi. So trying to reclaim as many positions as quickly as possible while we still can. So the short version of Hockenheim here. I actually really like this circuit, actually, quite a good circuit. Only 4 laps though. Around the outside of the Ferrari is giving me the space quite conveniently. And then down towards the stadium, 2 guys very, very wide. The 2 Vipers actually. So a Viper Civil War at the stadium has handed me 2 positions up to 4th. And again, first place has bolted already. It just seems to be the common trend here. The guys towards the front, the very, very front, easily able just to pull away if they can avoid the carnage on lap 1. That guy just pulling over for no reason. Well, he must have a reason, but I don't know what the reason is. And in 3rd place now, we can go about catching up with the Dutchman in the Porsche just up ahead. So we get the corner right this time without getting murdered. Can we get past this guy? Perhaps on this lap, and then maybe set our sights on catching the leader as we come through this flying left. It's a tricky little section this, especially this braking point here into this right-hander. To overshoot slightly, and we'll dip to the left-hand side to get a better run into this turn here. And Porsche with a decent exit, but you see the straight line speed here off the Ford. Is he going to fight it? He doesn't really fight it, doesn't turn in at all. Gives me the space. And I'm through up into 2nd with the leader 600 feet ahead at this point here. Although in seconds that might be, it looks like about 3 or 4 seconds at this point here. So I need to gain like 2 seconds a lap, which probably isn't going to happen. So that race pretty much decided on lap 1 with that crash, and eventually finishing 5 seconds behind. Now a bit of a treat for you, a bit of a blast from the past if anything, because I'm going to be driving the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Oh my god, what are you doing? Super GT in the Ultimate Noob Wagon. I haven't seen this car in a long time, although I haven't been into A-Class in a long time. I just remember the days of Forza 6. Half the lobby was full of the Alfa 33 Stradale. Good old times they were. And we're going to give it a bit of a blast from the past here at Rio. Short version of Rio here. So 10 laps, very, very short circuit. It's like 30 seconds a lap, or around about that. Not very long at all. Now the main thing, as we saw with the Maple Valley race earlier in the video, is the main thing around the short circuit is the traffic. So that might be a factor later on. So just really try and get your head down now while you've got the clear air. You've got the clear air, there's no one in my way. There's no one to worry about. So just really focus on my lines and just really nail these laps at the beginning and just completely demoralise my opponents and just give them no chance, mentally or physically, of trying to catch me up. I mean, they're not going to, because I'm driving the Alfa 33. What a car this thing is. So up behind the big group here, lap 9 now, we've caught up with 4 people who seem to be battling really close. So fair play to them, they're not killing each other, they are actually racing here. So we've got the V8 supercar up the inside into the hairpin. bit of a shady move, as I did hit the wall on the way in. Get the job done though, past the Porsche as well. So we've got the Porsche and the Lamborghini now to navigate. Look at the power of this thing, it just really accelerates so well. On the brakes really late, slam up the inside. That is ruthless. Leader overtaking the back markers gameplay. As we get the job done on that 10 of 10, and I think that's going to be the ultimate threat over as we come around to complete the race and complete the video. I do hope you enjoyed the video as always. Let me know your thoughts on turn 1, your tactics and the things you do to try to avoid getting murdered on that first corner and the first lap. Thank you for watching as always guys. I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.